everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into a classic story that has a powerful lesson we can all learn from. It's a tale you might think you know, but we're going to explore it with a fresh twist. So, get comfortable and let's get started. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled by rolling hills, a shepherd told his youngest son, "Son, today you'll tend a flock of sheep. Watch them carefully. The wolf will try to chase them. If he catches you asleep." The boy, feeling important, sat down beside a big, shady tree and did as he was told. He watched the sheep graze peacefully. The sun climbed higher in the sky. By noon, the job of watching sheep was getting, well, pretty boring. The sheep weren't exactly the most exciting company. They didn't laugh at his jokes. They wouldn't let him try to ride on their backs. And all they seemed to care about was eating grass and the occasional daffodil for a snack. The silence of the hillside was starting to get to him. And then, a mischievous glint appeared in his eye. He had a great idea, a brilliant and simple trick that he could play. A trick that would surely save his boring, uneventful day. He took a deep breath, cupped his hands around his mouth, and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Wolf! The wolf! He's hiding in a tree. You've got to come and help before he makes a meal of me." Down in the village, his cries sent a wave of panic. People dropped their tools, left their shops, and grabbed whatever they could find to help. The villagers came running up the hill, their hearts pounding, ready to face the terrifying predator. But when they reached the top, the sight they found left all of them completely confused. The boy was perfectly fine, not a scratch on him, and the wolf was nowhere in sight. It was clear the quiet, napping sheep were perfectly all right. The flock was just munching away, oblivious to all the commotion. "I tricked you," the boy shouted with a giggle, as the out-of-breath villagers started to head back down the hill. He couldn't contain his amusement when each of them returned to their work, grumbling and shaking their heads. The boy was still laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. About an hour passed. The sun beat down, and the boy was once again sick of his lazy, woolly companions. He tried to start a sheep choir, hoping they'd bleat in harmony, but they wouldn't make a single peep. The boredom was unbearable. He felt he had no choice but to play another clever trick. He thought of something new to yell, something even more outrageous, convinced that he was slick. "Wolf! The wolf!" he cried aloud, his voice echoing across the valley. "He's got an air balloon. He'll grab the sheep and all their wool unless you save them soon." Down in the village, the townsfolk paused. A wolf with an air balloon? That was a new one. They hadn't any clue that wolves knew how to fly. But the thought of an aerial attack was so bizarre, they just had to see it for themselves. So, once again, a crowd trudged up the hill. And again, the boy was laughing hysterically when they arrived to find nothing but him and his peaceful flock. This time, the villagers weren't just confused, they were annoyed. Some of them declared, "That's it, we won't come back again." It seemed they had their fill of his pranks. But did that stop the boy? Not at all. All day long, he kept on, finding new ways to keep himself amused. And each time he cried wolf, fewer and fewer people came up the hill to find that they'd been fooled. His cries became more and more elaborate. "Wolf! The wolf!" he cried. "He's come by submarine in the village pond." A little while later, it was, "Wolf! The wolf! He's in a bush, and he's painted himself forest green to blend in." Then, he tried. He's dug a tunnel from underground. This time he has a robot army. His imagination was running wild. His final, most creative plea was, "He's got me, and he says to bring some cookies or he'll harm me." By dusk, the village was silent. No one was listening anymore. Only a single kind woman came up the hill, carrying a small plate of cookies. She handed them to the boy, looked at him with a weary expression, and vowed she would never come again, no matter what he screamed. The boy just shrugged and said, "I don't care." He took a big bite of a cookie and lay down to get some rest, feeling quite proud of himself. No one tells such funny lies, he thought. It's clear that I'm the best. But as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the field, the boy's smug smile vanished. From the edge of the woods below, he saw a dark shape emerge. It was lean, it was hungry, and it had sharp, pointed teeth. A real wolf. It crept silently toward his herd. Before the boy could even find his voice to say a word, the wolf had pounced, capturing 7 sheep in a flash. Panic finally set in. This wasn't a joke. This was real. Wolf! The wolf! He cried aloud, his voice filled with genuine terror. He's here. He's really here to take the flock. But his desperate pleas were met with angry shouts from the village below. Pipe down. It's 6 o'clock. We're trying to have our dinner. No one believed him. No one came. By the time the night was dark, the wolf was full. It had eaten every single one of the sheep. The boy's father, the shepherd, came up the hill to check on his son and the flock. He carried a lantern, and its light scared the wolf away. But the damage was done. All he found was his youngest son, sitting alone, surrounded by silence. The wolf took all the sheep. The boy confessed through his tears, and it's all my blame. He looked up at his father, his face streaked with dirt and regret. I lied about the wolf so many times that no one helped me when it finally came. His father sat down beside him, putting a comforting arm around his shoulder. I'll tell you something, son, he said gently, something I learned back in my youth. The boy looked at him, listening intently. No one trusts a liar, even when they tell the truth. From that day on, the boy stopped playing tricks. He understood the heavy price of his lies. He helped his dad when he was able, learning the value of hard work and honesty. And as for the wolf, well, the wolf went off to find more food, perhaps inside another fable. This story is a powerful reminder that our words have weight. Trust is like a fragile thread. Once it's broken, it's incredibly hard to repair. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories and lessons.